Now trying to look at me, bitch, we back on again. I'm just chilling with my dog, every might he was sweating. All the damn, cause I don't got a friend. This ain't silence of the lamb, you ain't wearing my skin. Now trying to look at me, and we back on again.
So this is the KO emergency episode of the KOD show. We'll be joined by Bryce here in a second. And maybe we'll have a third member join as well. So we're coming to you in an emergency fashion. We have the biggest news this might be the biggest news in wrestling history. The fact that Vince McMahon.
Second biggest.
What's the first biggest?
It hasn't happened yet.
All right. Vince McMahon, CEO, head of creative.
One time for Vince.
Will be retiring, effective immediately. He let talent know today. He sent out a tweet. So it's over. 4 decades in the business. I don't think I'm blowing smoke here when I say he's the greatest promoter, wrestling promoter whoever lived. Despite whatever he has going on now, what you've thought about him in the past. He is the greatest wrestling promoter to ever live. So we'll see how things change here. I think tonight for SmackDown was Bruce Pritchard and Kevin Dunn. But I don't really know what is going to happen moving forward. Stephanie came out at the beginning of SmackDown tonight, just kind of made a brief appearance and want to know that Vince McMahon thanked the fans. And yeah, man, this is big. Nobody saw this coming. We all thought Vince was going to die in the chair in Gorilla.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, here we are. What's your first thoughts?
Yeah, man, exactly what you just said, man. Ric Flair is saying that he's either going to die in the ring or on top of a woman. That is the first thing I thought about when I saw that tweet today. And I'm like, man, that's like how I really expected Vince McMahon to go. You know what I mean? It would either be during a show or some kind of meeting for the show or on top of a woman. Like,
that's not exaggerating.
Yeah, I'm really not. Like, that really seemed like the Vince McMahon way. Like, the news to me, man, it's I don't know, man. It's shocking. I don't know, in a way, it's kind of hopeful. It's a little bit inspiring. I have so much emotion about what happened today. Like, almost like everything you could experience. Like, I feel happy about it. I feel sad about it. In a way, I kind of feel angry about it. I feel encouraged. Like, I feel so many things about this news with him retiring. And I mean from every role. He's not stepping down as CEO and still going to be on creative. He's not on creative. He's not on anything.
No.
It, in a way, almost makes me fearful. Like, what is he going to do with his time? Like, when you keep such a schedule, like he's kept the last 40 years, what is he going to do? And it's like, I try to think back to, especially in this social media age, what are moments I've seen Vince McMahon tagged in pictures or like in pictures with people? The last thing I can remember is like that Chappelle comedy show, I believe. It was a picture of him and like Donnell Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't recall ever seeing a picture of like Vince at a concert or Vince like with a fan like at a grocery store or anywhere.
Like, the closest thing you would have seen was him a couple weeks ago at the UFC show.
Yeah. And like, even that felt weird, but it made sense to me, like why he would go.
Yes.
Because it's like, oh, you still got time right after your show is over, so you can catch like the last couple of fights, and you can also do, PR for your company.
Yeah, and I'm
So
sure
it's
that
like it made sense.
Israel, that Adesanya Undertaker entrance probably
Yeah,
may have had something to do with it too.
yeah. I mean that probably was some type of work deal between the two sides that
Yeah,
we'll never know. Um, but it's just like, what is he gonna do with his free time now?
I don't know,
Like, does
man.
Vince start going to indie shows? Is Vince going to become all elite all of a sudden? Like, what's going to happen with him?
Um, I do know. I remember Bobby Bowden, the college football coach.
Hmm.
He always said, the reason why he stayed coaching so long is because after you retire, there's only really one big life event left, and
Yeah,
he was trying to put that off, as long as possible.
yeah,
So this will be interesting. This has been, back when with his dad, um, he's been in this thing, 60 years.
yeah.
So now after like 60 years, you don't really have anything to do. Um, but do you do you think this is in part or fully because of the scandals going on?
Um, Unfortunately, yes. I really do believe that. Um, I think this is something that was brewing for a while that probably only a handful of people knew about, which is why we got the WrestleMania that we did, where I feel like Vince was supposed to be involved in some way, but I think since he knew this is probably it, let's go out with a bang.
Yeah,
And I'm happy I got to be there to see that.
absolutely.
Because I'm, probably never ever going to see Vince McMahon live unless he's inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. It like anytime I've heard Hall of Fame speeches, it's like don't thank Vince.
don't think Vince.
So like I don't even know if I see him going into the Hall of Fame. He might be somebody that they put in, once they've passed away, just because he doesn't want to get that kind of praise and adoration.
Right.
But yeah, I really think knowing what's coming and then like seeing him on TV, it even kind of looked like those last few appearances on TV is kind of like him going out and looking at the crowd just a second longer just to take it in
You
because he knows
caught this
that.
after his first SmackDown
Yeah,
appearance, and like we just kind of like, well, now I don't think we blew it off, but it was like it's Vince McMahon. But you said this about a month ago after the first SmackDown appearance that this is him possibly saying goodbye,
yeah,
and lo and behold, it was. So you were right about that.
yeah. I'm not even happy to be right about something
Right.
like of that because I don't know. Like I said, it's just a lot of emotion today. I don't really know what to expect going forward. It's like,
I don't even think they really know, to be honest. There's no word as who's running. My assumption is as Bruce Pritchard in the
so,
interim.
so Vince did tweet that Stephanie and Nick Khan will be the co-CEOs,
Nick Khan's
and the
plan
news
work.
earlier of Triple H going back and assuming his role of whatever he does. I don't even know what he does. I feel like he does so
He's
much.
executive vice president of talent relations. Now that's what they
Uh,
tweeted out. They had a
yeah,
press statement about it. That's literally all day.
yeah, and I mean, I feel like that's the role like Laurinaitis had, but I don't feel like if Triple H is resuming his, his previous duties, I feel like he worked a lot more with acquiring and scouting talent and developing talent and like working with NXT. So does this particular role, is he going to work more with the main roster? I'm really curious to see what the future is going to hold with Triple H somewhat in charge I feel like NXT under like his vision was the best it ever was, possibly the best it ever will be. So I'm curious to see how certain things on the main roster may change, if there's different ideas that's put out there. Who wants to still work for the company? You know, that's also one of the first thoughts I had is like with the whole Sasha Naomi thing. Is that one of those things where like, is that good enough to like get Sasha to come back? That like Vince McMahon is gone and like somebody that you love, somebody that you have a lot of respect for is in charge in Triple H, and you'll come back for him. It just, like I said, just so many thoughts.
But then, then you had the report that Brock walked out of SmackDown today night because he was upset at the news.
Yeah.
And it was apparently, again, this is from like Alvarez and Sean Ross Sapp, so take this however you want to take it. There was some version of this said, if Vince is gone, then I'm gone. But Brock showed up at the end of SmackDown tonight. My thinking is that Brock probably did get mad and then was like, I'm just gonna go get something to eat. I'm gonna cool down and then I'm gonna come back to the show. But yeah, you're right. It's like a lot of the appeal. It works in two ways.
Yeah.
People either they're there for Vince or they don't want to work for Vince. If that makes any sense. So it kind of works two ways, and it's brought one of those people who will only work for Vince. And it's just like you said, it's like where does this go? Like you said earlier, it's like it's just a lot of different emotions, but I'm hopeful that maybe we stop getting like the cop out finishes, the kind of, I don't mind comedy segments, but sometimes there's a little too much of it.
Or just the wrong people.
Right. Just
they get brought down.
We get fresh ideas.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Yeah, and that's why I said part of me is like I'm hopeful because like of what Triple H brought to NXT and how great that show was with him in charge. Like it's just like I said, so many thoughts of like, so now like would Shawn Michaels work more with the main roster? Will he still be more with developmental? Does Road Dogg come back into the fold? How does the Click figure into all of this? Like, will they all have jobs with WWE very soon and be in prominent positions to help teach the next generation and help, pass along their knowledge of the business? And I don't know, it's just so many, like I said, emotions. Like I wonder, like you said, people who don't want to work for Vince, will they come back for Triple H? Right. Or people that want to work for Vince, would they leave because of Triple H? Like I'm so curious to see how things are perceived, how things change. Like I give you an example of, we all thought Walter was great, right? We didn't think he needed to change his image, his look, anything about him. He was fine like he was. But then like seeing him now like slimmer and trimmer, it's like, oh, I actually don't mind like this look. Like the presentation of it looks a lot different. And it's like, I wonder under Triple H, like, how does that thinking change as far as like how people are perceived based on like, should this person be in better shape? Should this person have hair of a certain color? Should, this woman get surgery to enhance something that's more pleasing to, that one particular person? It's just, I don't know, just a lot of thoughts of what changes would come,
CM Manny, I don't know if you can see this, Brad. We got a chat. Yes. So Vince did retire. Who is taking his place? So for tonight's SmackDown, it was Bruce Pritchard, which is his right hand man, and Kevin Dunn, which is a long time. I don't even really director. Basically, is what you can call him. Um, so those are the two guys who ran SmackDown tonight. Um, what me and Bryce maybe think is that maybe somewhere down the road, Triple H is the one who actually takes over. I kind of hope so because I feel like if it's Pritchard, then you're getting probably more of the same.
But see that's just it though. Like I really wonder how much of the Bruce Pritchard and Kevin Dunn was just saying yes to Vince. Because like I don't want to leave out like Bruce Pritchard was gone for a good while and worked in TNA. And we saw what that company was while he was there.
Right.
So that's why I'm saying I wonder, how removed is Vince gonna be really? Is
Yeah,
it still
like
gonna
I've
be
thought about that, and it was like, what if he's just like the guy in the chair? Like he's gone, like he's not at TV anymore,
yeah.
but he's still like running the show from like the ivory tower.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying just with so many emotions, it's just so many different ways that this can go that I'm like, man, like if the show doesn't look any different, then okay, it's probably clear Vince is still running it from afar. But if we do see things start to take a different shape and there's a different thought form and other possibilities are explored, then I'm hopeful for that.
Yeah.
But
And
you gotta give
in
it
just a
time.
statement to the talent, he did say, "I'll be watching."
Yeah.
So,
I
like,
think that's just more of the Vince McMahon mind games of like, I still got my eye on you. Like, don't take it easy. Don't treat this any different. You know what I mean? If this is any, uh, him being gone is not any indication that things will. I don't want to say they won't change, but just that he still got the phone numbers of everybody in charge, basically.
facts.
You know what I mean? He didn't sell the company. It's not. At the end of the day, it's still his company.
Yeah, he's still the majority shareholder.
So, like, give somebody else a chance to run it, see what happens. But like, ultimately, if it's not pleasing to him, he's probably going to let them know. But yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen.
CMA said, "I think that Vince is tired and just wants to do grandfather things." Maybe. I think that he was probably, and I think this is not out of bounds to say, if the scandal wouldn't happen, this probably isn't a thing.
Right.
Do you agree?
Yeah, that's what I said. If those allegations and the scandals and everything wasn't going on, he'd still be running everything. I don't think Vince really had a plan to retire. Because I mean, like, what exactly would that plan have looked like? You know what I mean? Like, Vince is great at outside the box thinking and like doing things different and being able to take us on like that roller coaster. And it's just like, what would the plan after him look like? Like, I don't even think he knows.
Right. It's like, do
Because
they have
only
a succession
the
plan?
vision for his company.
That was the CM Punk promo of, the Duke is son-in-law. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But was it, back in the day, it was always supposed to be Triple H.
Yeah.
Always, always, always. And then at some point along the line, he kind of fell out of favor. and I think it was because NXT did not ascend past AEW, and
Yeah.
therefore Triple H took a hit. So now it's like it's Triple H back in the graces of whoever to run creative. It can't be Pritchard. It can't be. Like you said earlier, it's just that's too much of a yes man kind of mentality.
Yeah.
And I also can't imagine Kevin Dunn being long for this company, because I
Yeah,
think it was a report earlier this year where Stephanie and Kevin Dunn didn't get along. So
I'm hoping Bucky goes away. I don't like Bucky at all.
but because
I
you can
don't.
tell tonight he was still there,
Yeah.
because
The
when Brock was
1,000
hitting,
camera cuts.
yes, when Brock was hitting Theory with the briefcase, you could see the camera cuts, so you know he's still there. Um, but yeah, man, it's just this is big. This is um, company changing. I wonder where the stock goes from here. Um,
I think the stock will still be fine. To be honest, it hasn't changed much with these allegations, and that to me actually spoke volumes. That this dude is in charge and has these allegations that he's facing, and the stock does nothing. It doesn't rise, it doesn't fall. It's
right.
just steady. So I mean, I
Yeah,
think
I
there's
think
still that confidence in the shareholders and everything. Because like we said, Vince still has most of the stock. Like
yeah.
he's just not involved with it. He really just owns the company and is just getting money from the company, but is not really inputting any creative or really meeting with anybody. And then I wonder, what is that process going to look like now? Like when you say Stephanie and Nick Khan are like the CEOs, what happens when somebody's not happy with how they're being used? Who do they talk to?
Yeah, like this is it's fascinating. Because Nick Khan is not
He's
Nick
not a
Khan's a
wrestling
numbers
guy.
guy.
He,
So
he's a TV guy.
yeah, like it, my assumption is it's going to be multiple people filling the one Vince, the role for Vince. I gotta imagine Stephanie's going to be at TV every week now.
Yeah.
Um, just in case, like you said, if talent has complaints,
But that's why I said
they
I
go to
wonder,
her.
is that like a Triple H thing? Because like I just can't imagine talent going and talking to Nick Khan and being like satisfied. With regardless of whatever the answer is, I wouldn't be satisfied talking to him because it's like, well, you're 50%. I need to either talk to both of you in the same room at the same time, like him and Stephanie, or I want to talk to Triple H. Like,
Yeah,
where does the buck stop with talent? Like, who can you talk to be happy?
it can't be Nick Khan. Like it can't. It just can't.
Right.
So, like you said, it's either Stephanie or Triple H or Bruce Pritchard. Like, how is?
Yeah.
I mean, Bruce Pritchard's got to be. Bruce Pritchard's probably running it from Gorilla.
I mean, yeah.
And I wonder who wrote the show tonight. I mean, who's
I
involved
don't.
with the show tonight?
I have no clue, but like SmackDown to me, the way that it started, I feel like the first like few segments just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. To where it's like I'm happy to see Stephanie, and then the Prophets got me excited, and then Theory like kind of brought it down just a little bit, but like not much. So then the Usos got me really excited, and then it was Shinsuke, and I'm like, man, like this show to me was great. So like in the beginning, and then the stuff with McAfee, man. I know we'll talk about this on the show next week, but I just want to say Pat McAfee
Yes,
cut
absolutely.
a fire promo.
Absolutely.
And it's really a shame to me. And I'm hoping, if there's changes in creative and what the rumors are going to TV 14, that we can get better promos. Because it's no way a former football player who's not a trained wrestler, who didn't go to the PC for promo class, can cut a better promo than like 95% of the roster.
Yeah, I'm also sure he's not as scripted either. And I hope this takes some of the scripting
Yeah.
away.
But that's exactly what I was about to say. His promo is better because it's genuine. It seems real. He speaks how he would speak. Like, you don't have four people trying to write something for you to say. This is what you want to say. And it's like everything that McAfee has done comes off authentic. The delivery of it to me is real. Like, I believe what he's saying. And it's just like, why can't we have more of this on the show?
Yeah, and it's like now, whose vision is this now?
Yep.
Like whose vision is this company? Like, are we gonna stop worrying about guys being tall? Are we gonna focus
That's what I'm saying with the Triple H thing. Like NXT with his image, you had guys of all different sizes, heights, weights, body types. It wasn't just a typical like 6'3", 260, 12 pack, 22-inch bicep guys, you know?
Right.
Like, to me, Adam Cole hit his peak in NXT compared to what he's doing over on TBS.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm praying that my man, come back healthy and everything. But from the way he was in NXT was so different from how he's being used now.
Absolutely. And I think about 5 years ago when NXT was at its heights, I was like, I can't wait for Triple H to take over.
Yeah.
He had his booking flaws, but that's, who doesn't? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He did rely on a certain three or four guys for every takeover main event. And that got kind of stale. But again, he presented guys in a main event way. He presented them as big deals. He presented them as stars. He accentuated the positives and then accentuated the negatives. So I thought overall his run in NXT was great. It's just he didn't win Wednesday nights, and that's his fault apparently.
Yeah. But what's weird to me is like, and I know we want to do this show about Vince, but just even looking back, like at I wouldn't even call them wars. Just looking back at that time, like, how much did NXT really like trip up AEW? Like, just looking at stuff now.
Oh, I think a lot. I think.
You think so?
Yeah, you realize AEW didn't start consistently hitting at least 900 until NXT went away. Like, you go back and look at pre-NXT and post-NXT, AEW's numbers are consistently now higher than they were.
But then that's the thing is like certain things like year over year, like AEW last year compared to this year, this time is down.
I think last year around this time is when NXT started transitioning to this new 2.0 format, I believe. They were starting to be you can see it coming.
Yeah.
And I think also AEW was working in front of live crowds and NXT wasn't. But I see your point.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's numbers both ways to, kind of support both sides. But it's just,
absolutely.
I really wonder, like, how much it really slowed it down because, like, I don't think NXT numbers have really dropped as much.
AEW's NXT's numbers apparently are doing well.
Yeah.
Considering, the rebrand and like the lack of established stars, their numbers are holding up pretty well.
To really just being developmental on national TV, doing 600,000-700,000 on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Compared to guys that are fresh off of a show with 2 million or close to 2 million a week that are doing under 1 million. I mean, I don't know. I don't even want to really get into that too much. I really just want to keep the show's focus on events.
Yeah, so like I said, we don't know where this is going moving forward. You couldn't really tell tonight on SmackDown where.
Yeah, I don't really expect to see any kind of change anyway.
Right.
Just because, I mean, the pay-per-view is like next week. It's 8 days away. So I feel like probably after like Clash at the Castle, we'll see changes.
Yeah, like I said,
I feel like you've got a few weeks of TV to kind of put whatever on that pay-per-view, but then you can really like change some titles and do the new vision of WWE.
So I think it's going to be a couple months at minimum before you start seeing a change. Does this mean Roman Reigns shows up less? Does this mean this Brock Lesnar show up less? This is mean Theory keeps his push. Does Walter keep his push? Does Sasha come back? Does Naomi come back? Where's Cody gonna slide in when he comes back? It's like where does like somebody like Ricochet starting to get more of a push? Does Madcap Moss continue to ascend?
That's why I said all this to me is very interesting, just from people on the roster who speak very highly of Triple H, right? Like, do you start seeing those people, the people that were mainstays and fixtures in NXT? Like, do they do something with Shayna Baszler? How does all this affect Paul Heyman?
That's that's a name that we haven't brought up.
Yeah,
but is it remotely possible that he takes over creative?
No. I don't think he wants to do that.
I think he would.
So I feel like Paul Heyman probably could do it and be great at it, but I just feel like from previous experience of like him running SmackDown back in the day to even doing Raw recently, I feel like just having bad experiences with that stuff. Like, I mean, you saw essentially what he was doing with Raw during the pandemic, where he was pushing people that now on WWE they're not even on TV every week, or they've been released, or
yeah.
They
but instead
don't
of Vince, but was Vince the one getting in the way of that? Like, you know what I mean? So
like we said with Bruce Pritchard and him still being there and kind of having a little bit more say. How is that? It's so many factors at play that like we don't know about that. They're just gonna make all this interesting. And like I just really can't wait to see how this is going to turn out.
It's like who takes the like I said, who takes the book? It's just what I want to know is I think Heyman is a better candidate than Bruce Pritchard.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I absolutely think he is, because I think Paul Heyman has always had a great mind and great vision for the business, to always look at what's next, to know that, hey, we need to elevate younger people. We need to be thinking about like who can we who can we use in the main event for the next 10 years? You know, how can we get that person elevated to that status? But I feel like at the same time, he hasn't had to worry about answering to stockholders or shareholders and
Well,
pressure.
creative doesn't deal with that anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think stockholders care about creative.
No, but see, that's the thing. It's like they don't necessarily care about that, but then they're seeing like the long term vision of it. So like, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but like Paul Heyman pushing like Shayna Baszler, for example, I don't have any problem with that. But on the Vince side of it, you may look at it and go, she ain't going to be here 10 years. Why am I going to have her run through my women's roster? That's better safe for somebody else. You know what I mean?
Can you see that?
Yeah.
What's going on? Thanks for being here. Where's your husband?
I know where he's at. He hiding.
What we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to. Apparently, he got beat down and had to get stretchered out of one episode, and he took a hiatus, and we're gonna have to do vignettes.
Uh-oh.
We're gonna have to do vignettes for his return back to the show. But thank you for being here, everybody. This is Lilo. This is Isaiah's wife. So I'm happy she's able to stop by and join us.
Yes.
But yeah, I would if I had a pick, I think I might give Heyman a try.
Yeah.
And then kind of go from there. But to like your point of like why wouldn't you just give the ball to like Shayna Baszler? It's like push who you have right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try to make money with who you have right now. You can't worry about. It's like this is why running a wrestling company is hard. You have to keep an eye on the future, but you also have to like make money right now.
Yeah.
And like you can push people who you think can make you money right now, and that's why this is why this is interesting. Do we cut down on part timers? Like, do we cut down on Goldberg or
please
Brock, or you know what I mean? Like, do we start to phase out the old timers, or the part timers rather, in lieu of just pushing new talent? What does this do for Dwayne in April?
Except for him, he better be at WrestleMania.
So this is all just so fascinating.
Yeah.
But all right, so just like last kind of, who would you give the book?
Man, that's a hard question because like I feel like there's so many great minds, but I don't know how many of them are interested in that job. Because like I know people probably not gonna like this, but I would kind of want to see Jim Cornette, but I know he ain't gonna leave, you know, where he's at. He's not gonna travel.
Right.
Well, I know he ain't gonna get on a plane and travel, but his mind for the business, he hasn't really been wrong about a lot of things. Like who to push, how he would push certain people and painting different scenarios. I mean, I would love to have him in some type of creative input where maybe he can just work remotely.
Yeah.
Because he has so much to still offer the wrestling business. Heyman has so much to offer. But again, it's like, does he really want to put in that kind of time? You know? I'm trying to think who else, man. Because those two to me are like probably two of the maybe top 5 greatest wrestling minds ever.
Yeah. So you're probably looking at some form of Bruce Pritchard, Triple H, Paul Heyman, Shawn Michaels. So in the comments below, y'all tell us who y'all think should take over as the primary booker for the show.
Yeah, and the crazy part is I like Shawn Michaels with what he does now. Well, I actually think he's better at developmental than Triple H is.
Yeah.
Like, I think him breaking down and explaining psychology and offering advice and saying, this is why you do this. This is why you should have done this. When you're looking to get this kind of reaction, you can do this. I think he's better at that than what Triple H is. And there's not any disrespect to Triple H, but I feel like Triple H is good at scouting talent and kind of having a vision for the business. But I feel like Shawn Michaels is actually good at like developing and getting certain things out of people. Triple H to me has kind of, and this is just from how people have talked about him, it's kind of become like Vince in a way that he's approachable. He's somebody you can talk to. He can change your mind about things. So I feel like in that role, that's probably where Triple H would be more valuable over, him still working and trying to develop and trying to teach. Not that he can't or doesn't have anything to offer. I'm just simply saying Shawn Michaels is better in that aspect. Also, happy birthday, Shawn Michaels.
Absolutely. I'll say the GOAT. He's top 5 dead or alive.
Yeah, I was about to say he probably top 5. Man, we gotta do an episode about that, man. A Mount Rushmore, or like a GOAT episode, because man, so they can go so many different ways.
Absolutely. So I'm saying Triple H. I think you give Triple H the first try.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want it, then maybe look to Heyman. Bryce is kind of throwing in a dark horse and Shawn Michaels. But again, y'all let us know in the comments what y'all think. Who should take over as the head of creative? That's my
we'd love to see it.
This is why, why do you release people? This is why I do not understand why they released William Regal.
So that's why I'm saying though with Triple H, that's why I'm wondering now. Like, so when Samoa Joe first got fired, the first phone call was Triple H, like, hey, no, this can't happen. You need to bring him back. And they did. And I just wonder now, like, how many released talents will come back?
Yeah, I guess that's going to depend on the relationship they had with Triple H.
But I haven't heard anybody say they had a bad relationship with Triple H.
Itself?
Since since he's been with like NXT. Not him as a wrestler. Him working with like talent relations.
What about what Phil said?
That was with him as a wrestler though.
No, this is still Phil was referencing him in a executive role.
What did he say?
The doofus
when you're laying in bed with your wife and you're saying this guy doesn't have what it takes. That's Triple H the wrestler. That to me is Triple H the wrestler of like
trying to protect this spot.
Yeah. I mean, so listen, he said this about Jeff Hardy before he dropped the belt to him. Vince, are you sure this is the guy you want to go with? Just like JBL being the champion on SmackDown because Triple H didn't want to work Tuesdays or Thursdays or whatever it was.
Tuesdays.
So like Triple H was protecting his spot. That's why I'm saying not people he had to wrestle or like work with in that capacity. I'm simply saying when they acquire talent, nobody has ever, that I can recall, said a bad thing about Triple H. People have glowing praise for Triple H.
I have heard things about Shawn, though.
Yeah, I haven't really heard people say a lot about Shawn Michaels, but
FTR,
a lot of people work with him, you know?
FTR does not like Shawn Michaels.
I don't feel like they really like anybody in WWE, but just because of how they were perceived. I don't know where that came from. Like, I don't know who started that bad perception, but I mean...
Yeah. I really think William Regal would do a lot of good.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those people I don't like. Some of the people they released, I was like, okay, I don't like it, but I kind of get it.
Yeah.
William Regal is not one of those. I didn't get that one at all. I feel like he had a lot. He had a lot to give, and I don't understand why. So he would do good right now.
Yeah, William Regal gave them a lot on screen and off screen.
He was at a lot of the indie shows scouting.
Yeah.
So now we can just transition to favorite Vince McMahon moment to end the show.
Man, I have so many Vince McMahon moments. It's like the first stunner that he ever took was so bad, but it'll never be as bad as the last one that he took.
So he bookended his stunners the same way.
Yeah, they both were probably the two worst stunners that I've ever seen. But man, it's so many great Vince moments. Like, I love
so many. We'll probably have to do a separate episode about it. Again, in the comments, y'all let us know what your favorite Vince moment is in the comments.
Yes, y'all please drop those below. And even if it's multiple, drop them below.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, for me, I love the life sucks and then you die line. That was great. I love McMahonism. That was hilarious to me. I love Do-Rag Vince when he was ECW champion. What up, G? That was such a great time. And I mean, he had matching do-rags too. I love, of course, Austin and McMahon. I mean, that feud probably saved WWE.
Yeah.
Like, I understand there's a lot of other parts on the show, but like, that probably saved WWE. And like the bedpan, come on, that is probably like one of my top three.
That is for sure. It is what always gets me, and I would never not laugh, is that when Austin hits him in the head with the bedpan, the sound the bedpan makes against his skull.
It's perfect.
I would never not laugh at that.
Man, I'm trying to think. Of course, like the Kiss My Ass Club, that was funny.
The beer truck.
Yeah. I mean, it's so many great Vince McMahon moments.
Winning the Royal Rumble, tearing both quads at a Royal Rumble.
Yes. Oh my God. That was quite possibly the funniest thing because you don't know what happened. He's mad doing his power walk, throwing his jacket down, and then he gets in the ring and it's like pop, pop, and it's and he's just sitting there. And I had no clue why. And then like years later, I found out Vince tore both of his quads.
Yeah.
Man.
The WrestleMania match with Shane at 18. That's the one with Linda pretending to be
that was 17.
17. I get 17 and 18 mixed up.
No, it was 17 because then he came back later in the night when he shook hands with Stone Cold.
17 is widely regarded as the best WrestleMania ever.
It is. It was only 3 hours and it was great.
Yeah. Just like you said, just so many just revolutionize the business for the good and the bad.
Yeah.
It's just I'm just going through just him on, like, people don't remember he was actually a commentator. He was the lead commentator for multiple years. The Montreal screw job.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was like on my mind. I forgot that fast. Yes. Like the whole thing that birthed Mr. McMahon, Brett Screw Brett. I mean, wow. It really. Oh my God, the higher power.
Yeah, you just brought this up the other. I think it was last episode. We did.
Man.
Was that you want to explain to people what the higher power? Just in case.
I don't even remember what the whole storyline was, but it was some, I don't know, some process that, led you to believe it wasn't, it was some higher power controlling stuff that nobody thought it was Vince. And like, I just remember watching this back, like, it was so bizarre to me at the time to see Vince McMahon in the ring and Vince McMahon on the Tron. And I know obviously it's not like movie magic and it didn't take a lot to make that happen. But just like in the moment of seeing it, it's like, I don't know, it's just crazy to see. He was
this is also when
once.
Shawn Michaels on his second run came back very religious. So there was a pay-per-view where it was Vince and Shane versus Shawn Michaels and God.
That's when he started McMahonism. Oh man!
So that's insane. So just the creation of like the Undertaker, the greatest gimmick wrestler ever. Just
how about Vince and Flair? The match they had.
Who?
Vince and Flair.
Yes. Vince taking chair shots to the dome, bleeding everywhere. Just, it's just, he's done a great deal for the business. Like I said, both good and bad. Basically creating Hulk Hogan. So he's essentially been responsible for, in some part. I know we don't really ride with Hulk Hogan over here, but it is what, like, the facts are the facts.
That's a bad thing that he did. He's responsible for creating one of the worst wrestlers ever.
As a human being, I'm not separating the human being from the actual there's okay. I'm trying to figure out how to say this because I'm not capping for Hulk Hogan in the least bit here, not at all. But he's responsible for two of the biggest stars who have ever laced boots, and Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold, was both under Vince McMahon. And you see how big Roman Reigns has gotten now. You see the Rock.
Cena.
Cena. So he's just been responsible for so many megastars in pro wrestling. Now he's also, he's had misses, but that's everybody. But for the most part, he has just created megastars. The creation of WrestleMania, which all love.
Forgot about that.
Sorry, my dog is here. So just so many moments. That's him beating the U.S. government in a steroid trial. So it's just so many McMahon moments. In this whole episode, I don't think we brought up Shane once.
I mean, what is there to bring up about Shane?
I mean, he's the son of the owner. He's, you know,
But you know what though? I feel like okay, if we're gonna bring up Shane, we all kind of knew whatever happened with Vince, whether there was a succession plan or he died while he was in the chair. We all kind of know, like Punk said in that promo, it's gonna be Stephanie and Triple H. Like we all know this.
yeah.
That's clear. I don't think Shane was ever in the plans, but I don't think he's gonna go away either.
Yeah. So do we see Shane back more? Again, obviously we're gonna follow this story. This is again probably up to this point maybe the biggest story in the history of modern wrestling. Uh, Vince McMahon retiring at the age of 77. It is just one of those days that everybody's going to remember where they were when they heard the news. I was in the mall, and you guys started texting the group chat. I was like, what's happening? Because y'all were kind of talking, not in code.
Don't show your age. Don't show your age.
What do you mean?
You was at the mall? Nobody goes to the mall.
My wife and my daughter were getting their nails done, so that's where their nail salon is, at the mall.
All right. That's acceptable. Long as you say you ain't shopping in the mall, you just No.
Doing my shopping online. Shout out to Sneakers for me getting those Jordan 4s today. But yeah, but everybody's gonna remember where they were when they heard the news of Vince McMahon retiring. This is a momentous day in the world of professional wrestling. You have any final thoughts?
I mean, really, I just want to say, thank you to Vince McMahon.
Absolutely.
You have given me countless hours of entertainment for my life. You have made me love professional wrestling. And it's a love I don't think I will ever get rid of. And I don't know, it's rare to me. How often can you watch something one time and just keep watching it?
Yeah.
Like as kids, we watch cartoons and then we grow out of that. We watch a movie and then after a few times of seeing it, we get tired of it. I know WWE hasn't always been the greatest, but it's like you're so interested, you got to keep watching
for the next greatest thing, and then you get moments like what we experienced at WrestleMania with Austin. So you just in Cody's return, like there's stuff that you just like, man, this is why I watch.
Yeah, and that's why you go. You know what I mean? You never really know what you're going to see. And I have no clue. What does WrestleMania look like now?
That's what I'm saying. Does this change?
What kind of possibilities, what kind of doors does this open? Or does it close? Do we see more Forbidden Door type stuff with other people in charge now? What happened? I'm just so intrigued for the future of pro wrestling.
Yeah, man, it's like I said, it is kind of it's a little bit of a sad time, but it is also an exciting time. Because we don't know where this goes from here. But you know what? We're gonna ride with it, and we're gonna stay here, and we're gonna keep coming back to you every Wednesday night and discussing it. But we just thank you, Vince. Thank you for the memories, and can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, I'm excited for the future.
Absolutely. All right, so this has been Kings of Dysfunction, episode 8.5. We had to bring you to you in an emergency style because you're not gonna get news bigger than this. So we had to come in and discuss with you guys live. We'll be back on Wednesday night at 9 p.m. This week we're going to preview SummerSlam. Our preview shows are been pretty lively, pretty good, pretty exciting. So hope you guys can come join us. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and go ahead and smash that like button. We really appreciate it, and it'll really help the channel. Also, again, who do you think is going to take off creative? Your favorite Vince moment? Drop those in the comments below. So until Wednesday night at 9 p.m., this is Brandon. That is Just Bryce. And this is the Kings of Dysfunction. Y'all have a good night.
Uh.